Hello, dreamers. Welcome back to Old Human School, our Dreamers Meeting podcast, number 10. Okay, I am broadcasting live from Singapore right now. Just came back from Malaysia yesterday on a coach together with my son, so reunited with my family. And yeah, this is my second day here. So it's Tuesday night, right after dinner, and I'm going out for a walk. So yeah, just thought of doing this update live like this because I have not set up a studio yet to do the broadcast at home. Anyway, I just want to give you a quick update about the last 2 days. I have been in Malaysia, I think, for 2 years. Yeah, and yesterday was the day I travel back and relocate back to Singapore again. So and I spent the day just with the family, had a wonderful dinner yesterday night, but without my eldest daughter Mayan. But today we had the whole family together. Had a great catch up, great time. During lunchtime, I had lunch with my second daughter, and then just a great day coming back. Actually, when I arrived in Singapore, the feeling is just, I didn't know, having got so used to sort of staying in Kuala Lumpur. I wonder how it will be like, resettling back to Singapore. Of course, I miss my family and all, but it's just the culture is so different. I think in Malaysia, it's a more relaxed environment. People are more casual. Um, and I think Singapore, the first thing I noticed when we arrived past the custom and entering Singapore is I just look around. I realized that lots of HDB and lots of structure. So the first thing that comes to my mind is, hey, how come Singapore is so structured and so uniform? Of course, Singapore is a much smaller place. So generally people stay in flats. My father used to call the flats system or the HDB system in Singapore pigeonholes. So, and it reminded me back when I first decided, to travel to Singapore to work. That this is a comment that my dad gave me about why do you want to go to a place where you stay in such a small pigeonhole. So reflected back when I first started my career. My first stop was Singapore. I had, of course, I was a PR in Australia at that time when I graduated, having studied in Australia University, and we were residents in Perth, Western Australia. But end up, I think it was during time of recession as well. Not a lot of jobs, just like present day. So but I could have stayed, in Australia, the comfort of my home, because my mom is staying in Perth at that time, but my dad is in Malaysia. So I still decided to actually return back to Malaysia, maybe to look for a job there. Then when I arrived in Malaysia, I think I did some simple job, odd job, data entry job for 2 months. Before then, I decided to actually go to Singapore. And I traveled to Singapore. So just looking back, I wonder what gave me the courage to do so. Okay, my dad is in KL, of course. My mom is in Australia, and to leave both Australia and Malaysia to go to Singapore where, you know, I don't have anyone, I don't know anyone. Yeah, it's kind of challenging, but still I think I made the move maybe because I was young, and I don't know why. I think somehow there was inbuilt in me that courage to travel, not for no reason, but actually for a purpose, to start my career in Singapore. Singapore at that time was more technologically advanced. I know IT is like, you know, people say it was like 10 years ahead, you know, of Malaysia at that time. So yeah, I did a lot of traveling, even, you know, yeah, before I started work. And I've been staying there, staying in Singapore for 30 years. Yeah, yeah, almost 30 years. And to ask me whether I regret that move, of course not. I think it wasn't easy coming to a new land where I do not know anyone. Of course, I have an auntie, a very lovely auntie, and uncle who stays in Singapore, sort of helped me out a little bit. So I started off staying with her, you know, for a few months, and after I got a job, right, so I moved up. And I moved out. I remember it wasn't easy, you know. A group of Malaysians and group of foreigners, right, came together to rent a house. We call it a ministry house because it's a house for us to have meetings in the church that I go to. So we rented as foreigners, right, this place that we can use for church meetings and to accommodate, you know, anyone that may need a place to stay, you know. So I remember there were lots of housemates, you know, from China, from India, from Bangladesh. We have, yeah, people from Vietnam. I remember a Vietnamese housemate, and so we had just had to manage it, you know, just like we are just like foreign workers, you know, cram up in a small flat, HDB flat. Yeah, sometimes as many as 8 of us, you know, in one house of 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms. Yeah, I can't really recall, but yeah, we just hack it out, find opportunities, whatever step, whichever way that opportunities come, you know, we just take the next step and next step and next step. So of course the rest is history. Now I have a family, my wife, got 3 kids, and yeah, there's actually no regrets coming here. Yeah, so even the last 2 years, you know, when we decided to split the family into two, my wife taking care of the 2 girls in Singapore and me taking care of my boy, you know, spending more time with him in KL, and to accompany my mom as well. It was a hard decision, you know. I thought, you know, at that time, 47, 48, no, sorry, 49, 49, okay, when I went to KL to stay with my son, to accompany my son. Yeah, I thought that, you know, it's time to retire, you know. Why make that drastic move again? But I'm glad I did. So we went through a lot, ups and downs, but lots of ups more than downs, of course. So now we are back, you know. So did I regret the last 2 years? Not at all. So really, always at hindsight, looking back, it's always that, you know, after you have done it, you know, you don't regret it. So, but there are situations and times where I wonder that, you know, if I've made a different decision or things happen a different way, right, I would have ended up in many more places. Okay, I got a chance to go to Hong Kong, which I rejected because my office wanted to send me to Hong Kong, but I want to stay behind, you know, to serve in a church, you know, to build the community that I was building at that time. So I rejected that. So I didn't sort of regret, but you also wonder that, okay, let's say if I had made that choice, right, how life would turn out as well. Then there was a chance that I wanted to go to Africa, Botswana. So applied for a job in, yeah, submitted my resume to Botswana, Africa. About to go at that time, we had two girls. Okay, we had already have two girls, and we wanted to pack our girls, and we just go to Botswana, partly to work and partly, of course, mainly actually to do the work of the church, to plant a church in Botswana. But turn of events, the door was closed and we couldn't go through because our boy was conceived during the time that I was, about to go type thing. And then so we had to stay behind in Singapore to deliver the baby. Okay, and of course my wife delivered the baby. Okay, I just watched. But anyway, yes, there are many decisions that we could have made that would turn things another way. But did I regret it? Okay, maybe not. There was no decisions because situation changes. That I had to choose the way that I have chose. But there are certain that I have made a deliberate choice to stay on purpose. So I think today I just want to talk about leaving our comfort zone to travel on purpose. And I know this is not a path that is well walked. Usually people like to stay with the comfort of their families, with the comfort of familiarity. And maybe if you are from Singapore, right, you don't see a need to because life here is so comfortable, and then it's so, the family here is here, and the country is prosperous, then you don't see a need to. But I think if you are in other countries, in Malaysia, or you're from Myanmar, I know many of you are from Myanmar, you're from Indonesia, or other parts, where places may not be so rosy, and then some of you, of course, are forced to travel. You're refugees, and you end up in a country that you never chose to come, but you have no choice but to come here, and you're waiting for resettlement to another country. So I understand we are all in a different situation, but what I want to share about is about maybe there will be a time whereby you're given the opportunity, or you have to make a choice, whether to relocate or not. Well, I just want to encourage you to not close the door on moving. Because God created us and He has given us the earth as inheritance. So we are created, as human beings, in a big world, in a very huge place. Okay. And while of course you say that, I'm citizen of this country, I should stay in the country, right? Why don't we as dreamers, right, look beyond that? We can be based in certain countries, but that doesn't stop us from sort of relocating on purpose. Of course, don't do it without purpose, but have a purpose in mind. Okay. Initially for me, it was the purpose of really looking for a job, a good job really, and therefore I sacrifice the comfort of home, right, to look for a better future, and that's why I made that move. And then several times, I made a decision because of my faith, my belief in God, my belief in serving the community, and that got me moving as well. So whatever decision you gotta make, you have to ask yourself about the purpose, okay, whether that purpose far outweighs, the comfort and the challenges that may come your way, right, in order for you to relocate. But I don't encourage you to stay in comfort zones for comfort sake, because especially if you are young, you are a teenager and you're studying, you're waiting for opportunity to study, or you're waiting for opportunity to find better job somewhere else, right? Don't look at your present place as the only place that you can be. and then close the door to opportunity that maybe got open, for you to travel and go places. I think it's so important for us to know that the whole world is our inheritance, and we are created for freedom. We are created for being able to make decisions that will make our life better, and make the life of our families better, and our future better. And furthermore, traveling is a very sacred thing, because when you travel, there's so many things to learn. There's so many people to meet, and then you realize that you being stuck in one place, being immersed in just one culture, really limits you from growing as a person, growing to be the dreamer, to maximize your potential and the gift that God has put in you, right, may not be able to come out if you're not challenged of your status quo. Yeah, I'm 51 right now, so really then I start to think that, is this going to be my last move? I don't know. When on my way from from Malaysia to Singapore, I always think that, okay, maybe Singapore may not be the permanent place for me. Okay, so I think when the kids grow up, maybe when the kids get married, and family situation change, right? Yeah, we may relocate to a new place for purposes that now I cannot comprehend. Yeah, of course now it's not about money, it's not about career anymore, but it's really about the purposes of God in my life and in our lives. Yeah, I remember when we were in Singapore and making the decision to go to KL, right, for 2 years. I had to disrupt. I have to interrupt a lot of things, that have been happening, that positive that's happening in my life, my social enterprise, the non-profit that I do, Song Kids. I thought it's going to take a 2-year hiatus or 2-year break, But really, I remember when we were traveling, and then that time we had to be quarantined in the hotel for 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks or 1 week? Okay, 2 weeks, I think. Or 1 week, okay, I cannot remember. So every day I was in a hotel room. And then I got a call from somebody, to do a Zoom chat, somebody that I don't meet often. But she just told me that, Hong Taek, if you're going to KL, right, you got to meet up with the people in El Shaddai Refugee Center. Okay, I never heard of El Shaddai Refugee Center. We don't even work with refugees. Okay, we work with orphans, right? So somehow she, being prophetic and knowing the spirit, knowing how the spiritual things work in the Lord, right, just told me that I have to do that. So she gave me a contact, and when I reached KL, I think within the first week or second week, I called El Shaddai, and then El Shaddai connected me to some work with the refugees there. And for the 2 years, actually I had a great time knowing people, the Rohingyas from Myanmar, the Afghans from Afghanistan, a boy from Kenya, yeah, some from Malaysia, okay, some, yes, from India, and refugees from different parts of the world. Ended up, as a sojourner, as a traveler, in different circumstances, of course, compared to ours, right, in this place called Malaysia. And then I was connected to them, and I, set up groups to nurture them, to mentor them. Okay, I don't know how much we have done, but at least we have built a strong friendship. So just 2 days before I left Singapore, we had a trip into the zoo, and during the zoo, I was filled with so much gratitude to have known this bunch of wonderful youth. And some we work with, some we just do online, and it's just a wonderful experience. Yeah, so meeting so many people who are travelers, whether deliberate or not, and opening myself up to the understanding different culture, different faith, different way of doing things, different food. Oh, it has enriched me so much. So much so that, I don't think my traveling days is over. So I just want to encourage everyone, please, if you ever get a chance to travel, if you ever get a chance to just go places, right? Yeah, consider leaving your comfort zone and take that step. Okay, it may seem like challenging, difficult, but which part of life, of which phase of life is not difficult or challenging, right? As I shared, with every negative there's a positive, and with every positive, okay, comfort zone, there's also a negative. Just want to challenge you, like, not to worship comfort zone, because I think it's comfort zone sometimes that creates depression, that creates a sense of purposelessness. So yeah, so comfort zone may not be the ideal place for you. So if you get to travel, you get to go places, do consider it, really pray, ask the Lord, your God, in your heart to show you the way and build up that courage, to take the next step. Okay, I just want to keep this wisdom and confessional simple. Hope next week I have a studio that I can come back to record, so that you have proper videos, you can see me clearer, and we have better content than this just random ranting from me. Uh, yeah, I just want to end by sharing what happened during lunchtime. I had lunch with my girl in university opposite my house called SUTD. So SUTD is a university, open university. Okay, people can go there and have lunch, and then use their library. And then I remember I was there in the library, right? I heard a talk. There was a talk by somebody, I don't know who, and he was talking about the current economic crisis, the current situation with inflation. They talk about even the rise of a new technology, new currencies. He talked about FTX crash, the uncertainty of the old system, okay, and then the problem with transiting to the new system. How the world is so uncertain right now, and then people have lost hope. They're worried about recession. They're worried about the economic crisis, and and I remember he ended the talk by saying that with any economic crisis, with any downturn, with any depression, right, there's always opportunity, and to watch out for the opportunity, okay, whether it's in investment, it's in looking for a job, okay, and I think he's speaking to people who are graduating, coming out to the workforce and worried about their employment and all these things. So he's telling them that if they know that the biggest companies, right now, right, was created and started during the last recession, the last depression, and just encouraging them, yeah, to always look for opportunities. And at the end of the talk, okay, one student actually put up their hands, and he shared, something that really struck me, and I think it sort of struck him as well. He said that he asked the question. He said, "Is it so important for us to, worry about all these things, to think about what's happening in the economy and to look for opportunities?" Because he said that my goal, after I graduate, is just to find a job, right, that is easy, so that I can sit back and chill and not having to worry about all these things. So he asked, why is it important for us to know about all these economic changes and what is happening in the world, and why must we follow the crowd to always look for opportunities to take one step ahead? So this lecturer, or this speaker, was taken back. Of course, he was super cool. He didn't felt that he was taken back, and I was taken back a little bit about people today, yeah, not having the dreams, not having the ambition, to do something beyond just getting a job and then just settling down and doing the least possible, in order to better himself and to get ahead. So I was thinking back, but he was very calm, and he shared that of course it's a personal decision. Okay, everyone have to run their own life, have to what. And then he said, he mentioned a quote by Benjamin Franklin. He says that many people die at 25, but only get buried when they are 75. So many people, okay, I may call it wrong, right? But it's along this line, okay? Many people die at 25, but they only get buried when they are 75. So what does this quote mean? Well, this quote is talking about, a lot of people at 25 are already given up hope, given up ambition, have lost their dream, right? So they have died, okay, but they are still breathing. So, but they only officially stop breathing at 75, and they get buried. So I think he's leaving that quote as a challenge to the young people. Yeah, what do you choose to do? I think every decision belongs to them, to all of us, in fact. But what are you going to do with your life? Are you going to stop dreaming, stop living before you die? Or are you going to, take the opportunity to continue to dream and continue to move ahead and continue to be the best that you can be? So he answered it very well. Of course, he's more tactful, and he shared a lot of things about this culture called silent quitting. So silent quitting is this culture of people in the workforce, not just people who are going into the workforce, but people that are already in the workforce, right? That has quit, but they have quit silently. Okay, that means they have not tendered their resignation. They are still in the workforce, right? But they are not engaged in everything that they do. So they are not contributing. They are just doing the minimal in order to get by. So I believe that all these things comes about when we don't believe in the system anymore. We don't believe in the government. We don't believe in corporate structures, right? That is broken. I think this is one of the points that the speaker make as well. That people are now losing their hope, losing their dreams. They don't feel inspired to go to work. They don't feel inspired to do something because they feel that everything they do, right, will not make a difference. So the culture of silent quitting is about people who have given up dreams and given up hope. I know this is a culture, but we don't have to follow that, isn't it? He also mentioned that this silent quitting thing is not new. I think in the past, depression, the past recession, people end up in situations like this as well. Well, we can follow the crowd. We can follow other people to take things easy, to not dream for yourself, to not have ambition, to not have vision, and lose the opportunity to be who God called you to be. But I don't think that's the way to live. So over at our channel, DreamOrs Meeting, at our Wisdom and Confessionals podcast, at the Old Human School channel, we are not like that, okay? We are dreamers who know that we can always be better. We can be 1% better for our sake, for the people that we love's sake, and for God's sake. So with that, I just want to end this podcast. I'm just walking around my neighborhood. Okay, here we are in Upper Changi. Okay, so this is near Simei. Upper Changi is near the Changi Airport. Okay, so if any one of you traveling to Singapore, you want to hit me up, okay, you want to do some partnership, my channel is meant for educating young people about the issues of their life, about helping them achieve whatever dream, whatever goal they have in their mind. So this is especially made and targeted for orphans and refugees. And of course, people like us, old people like us, are welcome to join. And I welcome your partnership as well. Please hit me up. And you have not subscribed, please subscribe. And please, help me out. I don't really need to do this, really. I don't need the money. I don't need success anymore. I don't need significance. I think I've done a lot to establish myself where I am. I have work to do with my non-profit, but I think yeah, this channel is just something extra that I'm doing, and I think it will promote my cause as well. So I'm not given up, by doing something like this new. But I'm not really expecting anything from you. Okay, this is a channel to give, not to take. If in the future it does monetize or anything like that, it's going into my social enterprise that helps orphans and refugees all over the world. So with that, bye bye, bye bye. I'm still wearing my Harimau Malaya T-shirt. Harimau Malaya is the national football team of Malaysia. Anyway, it's World Cup, so I hope, yeah, your team does well. So I see you next week or in any of the coming episode in Old Human School. So with that, bye bye, and thank you for listening. God bless you. Bye bye. Now, how do I end this?